You're listening to Up the Turnpike with hosts Mitch Anderson and Matt O'Leary.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this post-game show where the Islanders lose 3-1 to the Boston Bruins. I sound pretty dejected, but I don't feel that bad about the loss. Obviously, losses suck. We all know that. But I thought the Islanders played pretty goddamn well. And if we continue this style of play, once we amass a little bit more talent, and then we'll be cooking. I'm your host, Mitch Anderson, tonight. It's only me tonight. It's a solo pod or a solo post-game show. Matt is actually at the game tonight. He is there in person watching or saw these New York Islanders lose 3-1 to the Boston Bruins on Matthew Barzal bobblehead night. Apparently, they ran out of bobbleheads very early. Matt said he was there an hour before puck drop, and still they were already out of bobbleheads. So hopefully you got your bobbleheads early, people, because they were not there. Okay, so usually when it's Matt and I, we kind of do a normal shtick here, but we're not going to go through the normal shtick because it's just me. But we're going to go through it relatively on par, but let's get to some comments right away. Gary saying, first things first, congratulations to Matt. Yes, congratulations to the new groom or new husband. I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyways, just got married over the weekend. It was a blast, an absolute ball of a party. It was amazing. Good times were had there, and it was a beautiful celebration for those two goats. We got Nick Canetta here saying, I gotta find a right D. D'Angelo and Boquist ain't cutting it. I'd use JG to try and get one at the deadline. Look, I'm not against that thought at all. I sent something over in our Patreon to all those who aren't part of our Patreon. We also have a Discord where we chat all the time while the game is happening and when there are no games as well. And I said Boquist just can't play at this level. There was one shift in particular, I believe it was in the second period, where Boquist just didn't know where to be, didn't know what to do, was being not even out-muscled, but just out-positioned, which was concerning. So we really need someone else there to play alongside D'Angelo or just to have in the lineup, just to have there. That is clearly a glaring need. So I completely agree with Nick. Adam Boquist just cannot do it. Cannot do it. So I'm just tweeting something out for the show there. Join us now on YouTube for tonight's Isles post-game show. There's only 15 of us. Apparently when Matt is out, the mice do not come out and play. Which, whatever. It is what it is. Link here. There we go. Post. Let's see if we get some more cats in here. Not that it matters because all of you here are obviously important to us. So it starts off in a good way for the New York Islanders. We really kind of dominate the play coming out of the gate against these Boston Bruins. Shots are heavily in our favor. And then within almost 5 minutes, Matthew Barzal makes this goal happen. And Barzy does a lot of the work here. Sure enough, there's a little interchange here between Schaefer, but he's just deking around. It doesn't look as good as it actually was here when you're watching the visualization, how he's deking around the pylons that were there and then through Jeremy Swayman. Holy shit, Barzy, take a bow on that one there. So that was beautiful to see. And it was a continuation of the momentum that the Islanders had in this game, at least at the start. And so that was fantastic to see. You're going, great. They came out of the gate flying. They get a beautiful goal from a guy who, kind of needs one right now. And let's keep going. But that does not happen. Where with 2 minutes later, the Boston Bruins and Alex Steves get a goal here. Maxim Siplikov, I don't know what the hell you're doing here, bud. Another player where people are like, this guy needs to go. Totally fair, because he had one good game a couple of games ago, and that today was not one of those. Watch him stand here. It bounces off of him. Oh, boom. And then just kind of floats. I don't know, what is he supposed to do here? But it looks completely disengaged. And then Boquist loses Steves, like just bad body positioning. Again, kind of what we were talking about earlier. Just bad body positioning from Boquist, and Steve is just let loose. You're like, come on, man. But the Islanders kept pushing, right? Like you can see it at the bottom of the screen here where the Islanders had an 11-4 shot advantage over these Boston Bruins in that first period. Like the ice was tilted in the New York Islanders' favor throughout that first period, and really throughout the entire game. But they couldn't get anything to go. They really had a hard time solving Jeremy Swayman. Now, I'm just trying to bring up the natural stat trick here. And of course, I'm struggling because I'm trying to talk and do everything at the same time here. I really want to get a sense of, while they got a lot of shots, did they actually do a lot with it? Because it felt like while they got a lot of shots in the slot, it didn't feel like they were generating a lot of danger from those. A lot of those hit Swayman right in the chest. So maybe being unfair to the Islanders shooters here. But as I'm looking, like if I share this tab instead, you're seeing at 5-on-5 throughout the entire game, the Islanders had a 2.69 expected goals. If I do all situations, though, that jumps big time at 4.32. Like the power play clearly held its own. But in that first period, 0.09 or really like one goal expected goals from the New York Islanders to 0.69 from the Bruins, which was really the story of the entire game. Bruins should have scored 1.5, rounded up. So round up maybe to 2, while the Islanders should have scored at least 4. Which is kind of comes back to what I was saying at the beginning, where I don't feel as dejected about the loss. Losses suck, obviously, but I don't feel that bad about it because I thought the Islanders played well. And once we get more talent into this roster, if we play this way, we will win more games. Let's go to some comments. We're going to go back and forth while we go between the periods here. Doge was at the game. That's great to see. Glad that it was buzzing there. So that's awesome. And then Nick saying, why they send Warren? Feel like he or George should be playing. No, I believe George is still injured, but I agree with the sentiment. He or George should be playing. And I think that made it clear today. They sent Warren back down for some good cap measuring, right? Because they sent him back down. They were no longer accruing, or they started accruing cap space because they weren't using LTIR anymore. And they thought they could use Boquist because he had a decent enough game a couple of games ago. That was not clear today. Boquist did not have himself a good game. I don't think he really stood out here. And so I agree with the sentiment from Nick. Like Warren should be playing instead of Boquist. I think he adds more to this lineup. He's not getting out positioned. He's more physical. Maybe he can't skate as fast, but at this point, you've got enough decent skaters where like that's not going to be an issue. And even then, I'm just saying that because I haven't looked it up, but it doesn't. Fast skating and Marshall Warren don't scream. Not to say that he's a slow person. He's not. It just I don't think he's a speedster out there. But agree there, yeah, for Munich. To Gary says, couldn't find the back of the net. Every shot seemed to find Swayman's chest. Yep, it really did, which is good on Swayman, right? He was finding his angles. He was reading shots well. Boston was doing a really good job of letting him see pucks. I know they said it later in the broadcast, specifically once we pulled the goalie, that guys were getting in front of Swayman enough. The Bruins were doing a good job of clearing the net, and vice versa. They were doing a really good job of getting in front of Sorokin, which brings us to some of these other goals that they scored, specifically this one here from Tanner Jeannot. They're just like, watch Jeannot is in front of the net. He's not moved. He has not moved once. He is dominating that ice, and then 47 comes in. And then it's a big scramble. Maybe Sorokin could have got something there, but you're talking about a scramble in front of the net. Like these things, the goalies really need to be said a little bit more. And this is what Boston is looking for, to have these fast movements and unsettle the goalie. And they're doing that by capitalizing physically that center of the ice, right in there, the low slot, if you will. They're capitalizing on that physically throughout the game, and that's how they were able to get this goal. Sure, they were able to cycle it around and stuff, but Barry Trotz hockey moved players out of that area. So like you can do all the dipsy doodle you want around the zone, but if we're not giving you this area here, I don't give a crap about what you're doing. And it doesn't mean that we have to play Barry Trotz hockey. We have to go back to that. But there has to be some sort of element of that in this game for the New York Islanders, because that's the only reason we lost this game, is we could not control in front of Ilya Sorokin. We couldn't control it. That's it. That's where we lost the game today, because everything else we did absolutely well. And then we're down 2-1, even though like we got 22 shots by the second period. We were up 22 to, 11. We've doubled them up in shots within the first 40 minutes of the game. I should say the first 40 minutes. There's no second 40 minutes. Within 40 minutes of the game, we doubled them up in shots, but we were down 2-1 because we couldn't control the front of our net, which is really not embarrassing or rough or anything. It just stinks. But again, these are things that can be fixed. They can be fixed. So again, it brings me back to, I'm not really worried about what's going to happen with this game. I'm not worried about the loss that resulted from this game. It's not crippling. It's a loss, but we played well enough, and that's all I really want to elaborate here. From Cold-Blooded Clowns, good news: Isles are better than we thought going into this season. Bad news is that they can't generate any real offense, and they play leads to bad shots, and their play leads to bad shots. Yeah, this is why we had almost 40 shots and 1 goal. Which there is some truth to that. Again, when you go back to the natural stat trick here, and you look at their 5-on-5 play, 2.69 expected goals on 40 shots. Like, it's just 7 high danger attempts. The Boston Bruins had just as many high danger chances as we did at 5-on-5 in 60 minutes. And we almost tripled them in shots, right? They ended with 14 and we had 45. So we more than tripled them in shots. And we had the same number of high danger chances for. That's not good enough. It's really not. We need to be doing a better job of getting into that inside space, as we were showing earlier. We need to be controlling, not only in our own zone, but in their zone. We need to be doing some of what the Boston Bruins did here, of having those guys on the inside. We've got the guys that can do the water bugging on the outside in Matthew Barzal. Even Matthew Schaefer can do it. Jonathan Drouin can do it. You have those guys that have that ability. We need those guys like Anders Lee to do that, which was kind of why he was on Matthew Barzal's line, to be there. I'm not saying he didn't do that. I think he did a decent enough job, but other players need to also do that. And we're just not getting enough of it. Again, something that can be fixed going forward. We have here Hockey Life saying dreadful. I respect that to a certain degree. I get it. It sucks to lose 3-1 when you outshoot the opposition 3-1. It really does. Can we learn something from it and say, like, this, we did well enough, like I feel okay with the loss? Sure. Because we're going to lose. Even good teams lose 20 times in the year, even really good ones. We're not a really good team. We're going to lose 30 games minimum. So, like, whatever. It's how we perform in those losses. And if this is how we lose 30 games on the year, I'll take it. Which is something that has been happening, because as Hockey Life brings up, that stat of being 10-1 when being outshot, but 2-8-1 when out shooting is wild. That is something. I don't understand how that works. The second they don't play the game they want to play, they can't win. And then it's vice versa. Like, we want to be out shooting them, whatever out shooting means, if it's 1 or 2, but we want to be that. It seems that they're trying to play Carolina hockey, which is great. Carolina hockey, Colorado hockey, it's the same thing. Shots, quantity, just get the shots in, and then your stars will take over. We just don't have the stars. This really is really what it is. I think if we continue to play this style and stick to this style as an identity in a way, we will start winning games once and only once we start implementing or adding more talent to this roster. These guys are good. They're good hockey players, but we obviously need upgrades. Mathieu Dauch has been saying it. Any team will say that. Even the Colorado Avalanche is looking for upgrades. Once we get those upgrades, whenever they're coming and whoever they happen to be, if we play this style of hockey, we win this game. And some of those other ones, the 10-1, we win some of those 10 games as well. We're going to lose some for sure. But as Hockey Life is saying here, you don't want that complete imbalance of you want to be out shooting teams, but you can't beat them. You can only beat them when you're not out shooting them. That seems strange. Sorry, I misquoted, not misquoted. I flipped the numbers. We're 2-8-1 when being outshot, right? Anyways, yeah, it doesn't matter. Stevie P saying clearly Matt is not great luck, which is 1000% true. Matt is obviously bad luck charm. He can't go to hockey games anymore. Sorry, Matt. We've decided this for you. It has been decided, Matt. You cannot go to hockey games ever again. Okay. We're 2-1 down going into the third period, and the Islanders absolutely tilt the ice in their favor, right? You can see the shots down here, 23-3 in favor of the New York Islanders. I really wish we had some sort of zone time counter that was publicly available for these post games, but we just don't. It would be dope because they clearly were all in the Boston Bruins end. But Boston did a really good job, again, of breaking up plays in front of their net, breaking up plays at the blue line. Like, we had a really hard time of transitioning into the Boston Bruins zone, not just on the power play, but just at 5-on-5. Like, their sticks were always in lanes. The code of like active sticks was really something the Boston Bruins were championing today, and it worked to a certain degree. We still got 45 shots off, but we still struggled. So think about if they didn't have those sticks, how many more shots we'd have on net. We ran circles around them, and they still broke up a lot of plays. So like Boston played a decent enough game, a decent defensive road game. We just don't have the talent to make it work. And then here, Steve's makes it count on the shorthanded. That was the second giveaway by Matthew Schaefer in a row on this power play, and they just make it count on a 2-on-1. He kind of throws himself out there. I liked that play from Schaefer. Just go to the ice, take that away from him. Minton made a really good play to kind of protect the puck with his stick as Matthew Schaefer sprawled out, tries to swipe with the stick. So good play by Fraser Minton there to create that opportunity. But it's a whiff. Like, Matthew Schaefer whiffed on the puck. Whatever. It's going to happen. It sucks, obviously, and it's frustrating, but you're going like, if anyone's allowed to do it, it's Matthew Schaefer. As an 18-year-old, you're going to make mistakes. As a rookie, you're going to make mistakes. As a more offensive-minded player, you're going to make mistakes. So, like, these things are going to happen. Whatever. I'm not too bent out of shape about it. And at that point, like, sure, it kind of buries the game, but like, you still had 10 minutes. The Islanders did to turn this around, to find 2 goals within 10 minutes. And you pulled the goalie for 4.5 minutes. Like, you had opportunities here. You just didn't take it. So that kind of stinks. So to comments here as we close out that third period, because obviously they don't score another goal and blah, blah, blah. We lose 3-1. Jeremy says, just need to bury some of those chances and the confidence will get going again. The fact that they're getting all kinds of chances is promising. That's true. It is promising that they're getting all these chances. I thought Bo Horvat had a number of shots that 2 weeks ago would have gone in, and I'm sure you're thinking the same thing at home. There's one-timer opportunity that's sticking to mind that kind of comes out the butt end of his stick, and like a week ago, that's going right in. Jeremy Swayman was really in good places for some of them, right? He catches the Jonathan Drouin one-timer right off the helmet, which, sometimes you got to create your own luck even in the nets. So they are getting their chances. And I agree here with Jeremy. Like, the fact that they're doing that, gives me some sort of confidence going forward. Cold-blooded says Isles need teams to make mistakes. If the other team plays sound hockey, we lose every time. We don't have enough shooters who can score. That's true. Like, obviously the case that especially at the end, that we don't have enough shooters to score. That's true, especially when you have Matthew Barzal and Jonathan Drouin on the same line. I know both can technically shoot a puck, but neither of them is a 40-goal scorer. Neither of them is a 30-goal scorer. They need a guy who's going to get in a position, just whip him on the net. Cole Eiserman cannot be here fast enough. He really can't. So I agree here, cold-blooded. To Andre says, congrats, Matt. Of course, all the congrats over to Matt on that beautiful wedding. This was Schaefer's worst game as an Islander. Oh, how about worst game? It wasn't great. Obviously, Andre is seeing something that I'm not seeing. I'm not going to say that Schaefer had a good game. it was fine. The two giveaways were rough, and he really had he struggled with the puck a little bit at times, but other times he was great. He's making specifically on that play for Matthew Barzal. You don't see it in the replay, but he drives the lane going towards the net, pushing the defenseman back and opening passing channels, which is something we don't see from enough defensemen on our team. So he's doing well enough, I think. Did he have a flub? Yes. Of course. He made a mistake a couple of times there, and we ended up paying for it, which is going to happen. Frank saying no goals in their last 22 power plays. Schaefer, the last to score on the power play. Yeah. That's bad. The power play has not looked great for a while. Obviously, like no goals in the last 27 power play attempts. Like that's really, really bad. It's particularly glaring when we've clearly fixed the goaltending thing, although like today isn't going to be a banner for that. Right? We fixed the penalty kill. We've done decently enough defensively, though again, today does not stand out as one of those. So it really sucks to see, like, once we set our mind to fixing something, we end up fixing it to a certain degree, but we haven't been able to do that with the power play. Again, I referenced it earlier in the post game where we're talking about zone entries. The zone entries at 5-on-5 struggled at times. On the power play, they were horrible. We just could not get out or get through the Boston Bruins. Their four-man wall, as you will, we couldn't figure it out. We could not sort it for the life of us, which is something we should be able to sort out. Like the Boston Bruins are not the only team to just have four guys stand on the blue line and just block our attempts. That's every penalty kill. But we should be able to find ways through here, and we're just not doing it. Either we're not being creative enough, or we're just not seeing lanes that exist. But my God, this is a struggle, and it's killing us. Four of a kind. Why doesn't Roy put Shabanov or Heineman on the first power play unit? We need that one-timer to have any success. And since we're dead last again on the power play, why not try something different? I'm going to agree with this. Yeah, with all of it. I don't understand why we have Jonathan Drouin and Matthew Barzal on the same power play unit, let alone the same line. I'm not going to say that they're the same type of player, but they play the same style of game. And so to have both of them there on the power play, you've now removed a one-timer element. Of course, we saw Jonathan Drouin have at least one or two one-timers on the day, and then they got on net. It's not the same. It's not the same as having someone like Heineman shoot that puck. I don't know about Shabanov. I'll take it as long as he's shooting pucks. It's just not the same. And Jonathan Drouin is not known for his one-timer in any regard. So with all due respect to him, it's just not as dangerous as someone like Heineman could be. And so I agree, like that power play needs to have like that switch of having someone who's going to rip pucks on that far side, on the half wall on the right side. And Heineman would be an ideal candidate for that because he's a left shooter, right? So he opens yourself up to the one-timer a lot easier there. Let's go through some of the box score stuff here. As we normally do, you can see the game stats. Shots on goal, 45-14. So we more than tripled their shots today, which obviously didn't matter one lick. Face-offs, dead at 50-50. That's dope. Power play, 0 for 4, and the Bruins were 0 for 1. So penalty kills still doing the thing. Power play still doing its thing. Penalty minutes, 8-2. Hits, Bruins out-hit us, but that makes a lot of sense. If you look at the shots, we had the puck a whole hell of a lot of time. 24-17, like we were still pretty close for how much of the puck we did have. Block shots, 12-17, like they weren't even blocking a ton of shots, and we still couldn't get out of our own way, basically. Giveaways 10-12, takeaways 4-3, so pretty even in terms of puck management between the two teams. When we look at the box score for individuals, we're not worried about the Boston Bruins. Highest ice time for forwards was Matthew Barzal. Gets his goal. It's a bobblehead night and makes a lot of sense. 2 shots for him, 23 shifts. Not so bad. Least amount of ice time, I assume, is Maxim Sipikov there at 8:23. It is indeed Maxim Siplikov at 823. I did not like his game, and I don't think I'm the only one who didn't like his game today. Even just take the goal, the first goal away from the Boston Bruins, I still didn't like his game today. I don't know what the hell has happened to Maxim Siplikov, but he is not the same player he was last year. It's night and day. Pretty rough. On the blue line, leader Matthew Schaefer. Well, we got 4 power plays, and we took the goalie off 4 minutes left in the third period, so he's going to get a ton of ice time. And then least amount of ice time is Boquist at 11 minutes. That's low even for a forward. He got 4 blocks, so that's 2 points in fantasy. So if you had Boquist in fantasy, good job there, I suppose. 16 shifts, deservedly so. Honest to God, deservedly so. I didn't think he was any good tonight. Good player, obviously relative to me, but not a good player relative to the other players that play at the NHL level. We need an upgrade there. And then Ilya Sorokin, bad night on the stat sheet, stops 11 of 14 shots for 786 save percentage. Not great, although one was a 2-on-1 shorthanded. Nothing much he could do about that. Maybe the other 2 he probably should have stopped. And even then, I'm like, I don't necessarily blame him for that. But it really looks bad when you're only getting 14 shots and you stop only 11. Yeesh. Yeesh. All right, to some comments. Big time Isles are a fraud. Come on now. Come on. They're not a fraud. They're a decent team. They're a 500 team. We said that at the beginning of the year. All of you said that at the beginning of the year. It's fine. Whatever. Any interest in acquiring for Philip Hronik from Vancouver? By the way, I'm getting sick and tired of Holmstrom's inconsistency. I would like Holmstrom to be consistent. His hockey IQ is there, but I wish he would have the offensive impact every night. Would I be down with Flip Hronik? I feel like he's a little bit too old. Is he not? What's his age at? Hronik, if I can type here. He's 28. When is he turning 29? He just turned 28, like at the beginning of the month. Okay. I'm just looking at his stats here, so if anyone wants to take a look at me, that is as well. 13 points, 23 games for a rough Vancouver side. I mean, if they're selling him cheap, sure, which maybe they are because Vancouver is selling right now anything. I'd be more interested in getting Ataratu back, please. Please give me Ataratu back. They don't want to use him. I would gladly use him in place of Jean-Gabriel Pageau if and when we trade him. I'm assuming when and not if, but you never know. I'd be down as long as the cost is low. I don't imagine it will be with the fact that he's got 13 points. But I'm down, Andre. Let's go back to this tab. He shouldn't have switched up the lines tonight. Yeah. Well, I'm going to say they played well. Again, 45-14 in terms of shots. Expected goals in all situations were in our favor. Even not, right? 68% expected goals at 5-on-5. Sorry, sharing this tab. 68% expected goals at 5-on-5, but then when you flip it to all situations, 74%. I thought they played well. I don't think it was a lineup thing. I just think it was it's a talent thing. It is what I think was the difference tonight. Like we were putting ourselves in the proper positions. We were putting ourselves in winning positions, but we just didn't have the talent. And even some of the talent that we did have just wasn't clipping. Again, we're talking about Bo Horvat. Had a couple of chances. Like he had how many shots on net here? Bo Horvat had 2 shots on net. Kyle had 6 shots. Lee had 6. Like you would expect guys, once they get 6 shots on net, they're going to convert at one point, but they're just, these 2 guys are snake bitten right now. I think that's the issue here. Gary says, I saw a Toronto blog with a trade for Carlo and Michele to New York Islanders for Tony D, Tsiplikov, and Pelech. I say absolutely yes. What do you think? Toronto fans were all for it. I might do that. I mean, Tony D can go. I'm okay with that. It's not that he hasn't been playing well. He's been playing okay. Tsiplikov, absolutely, please. And Pelech has been really good right now. But I don't mind Brandon Carlo. I think I'm gonna look up some stuff because maybe I'm getting excited about the possibility here, and I'm forgetting some things about some of these players that I don't know very well. Although I do know Maselli. I do know Carlo. Maselli 25 had that really, really good rookie season, if I remember well, playing for Utah or for Arizona. Is it? Yeah, 49 points, 57 points, but then has fallen off. 18 points 2 years ago, 9 and 21 for Toronto now. I don't know. There's a potential there, and he's 25, so it kind of fits with what we're looking for age-wise. And he's not on a crazy contract, not even, and expires at the end of the year, $3.4 million. That's totally fine. Brendan Carl is the one. He's 29 years old. Oh, that age. He's 29, and he just turned 29 today. Has one more year, 3.4, so that's not awful in terms of contract. Obviously, the points aren't there, but you're not getting him to put up a crap ton of points. I don't know. Maybe not for Pelech. Although I might, because if you can get rid of that contract. It's not to say that Pelech has a bad contract in terms of the number. It's the number of years, right? Like, he's playing well now. Will he play well next year? So, Andre's saying it's not a good trade for the Islanders. I flip. I don't know if I say absolutely yes, Gary, but you've got me where I'm like, I'm humming and hawing about it. That's for sure. Stevie says, what's Siplikov been playing tonight? Not really. 8 minutes and 23 seconds. Not really. If we look at shift charts, when did he can we look at this? Is this the graphic one? This is the graphic one. This is the one I like to look at. Maxim Siplikov, there he is. Look at that. He didn't play in the last, so he had one shift after 46 minutes of game time. So what is that? He had one shift. Yeah, one shift after the 6th minute of the third period. He played one shift in, basically 2 shifts in the third period. Sorry, 3. 3 shifts in the third period. That's it. That's a lot of pine writing. Did not look great, deservedly so. That this is like, you're out there to give another line of breather is what he was doing. Gary here, we're going back and forth, same people, but that's totally fine. We're going to go through all these comments probably tonight is what we're going to do here. I think we said it to lefty, and Carlo only has 1 more year left on his contract at 3.5. Is he a lefty or a righty? Oh, he's a righty though. So that's where you got a righty. We are set at lefty, so I agree. Power play is totally bad, says Gary. Absolutely. Left lock, bad game, but hey, at least we got Mitch solo post-game show to warm our hearts. Let's go. Mitch solo show. I don't know why I did those noises, but feels good to be on here. Matt won't be joining us because for anyone who's joining late, he was at the game today, so Matt will not be here. It's just me. 2, Anthony says, an absolute embarrassment. I mean, you want to talk about completely shutting a team down, and Sorokin, God forbid this guy makes a save. He either gets a shutout or allows 3 goals and 14 shots. I don't know about that. I understand we feel bad because we outshot them 3-1 effectively, not even. And we lose 3-1. It's going to happen. Hockey is a random sport. Jeremy Swayman played well. It sucks. I'm not saying I'm happy that they lost. It sucks to lose, but if this is how we're losing games, I'll take it because that means we're doing a lot of things right, and we're just not executing on the hardest portion of this game, which is putting this tiny little puck through a guy wearing a crap ton of pads. Anthony continues to say, slowly starting to turn into the Rangers. Can't win at home, make bad goalies look like stars, make good goalies look like Prime Luongo. I mean, that sounds like Islanders, doesn't it? Sure, we can't win at home right now, but making bad goalies look like stars, that's an Islander thing. I don't know about you, but whenever we talk on our Discord here, if the backup goalie is playing, we're like, well, that's an L. And we've been like that for years because that's usually what happens with the Islanders. Bad goalies, we make them look good because we don't have the talent. We just don't have the shooting talent, which is a comment that's been made before. We don't have enough shooters. Not that we can't get enough shots on net, clearly, as evidence tonight, we can. But we don't have the guys who can convert at a high enough rate, putting themselves in that position. Like Simon Holmstrom is usually one of those guys, but only has 2 shots tonight. Simklov, no shots. Cizikas, no shots. We got 45 shots on net tonight, and 2 of our players didn't even get a single shot on net. That's not helping things at all. Not saying that they're high volume shooters, Sadiq and Siblikov, but it certainly would help if you get pucks to nets, guys. RW says probably Horvat's worst game of the season, although he's certainly had a rough night at the office the way he's played this year. Thank you. I think that this is fair context. Bad game from Horvat, couple of good chances, squanders them. But you're absolutely right. But the way he's played this year, like, whatever, man. I'll take it. It's fine. We said at the beginning of the year with Bo, when he was playing kind of like he did tonight, he's getting himself in the position. He just needs to sight that stick, and then it'll go in. And here it is. It happened. So I think it's just another kind of reset for Bo. It'll be fine, hopefully. Anthony, everybody's scared of Zadorov. Palmieri holds up for a race for the puck. Nobody wants to hit him. He throws people around. There's something to that people play scared against Zadorov, and I don't necessarily get it. I'm not very big, though. Like, look at my tiny little arms. And I'm not very tall. I'm 6 feet tall if I stand up straight. But even you got to go in there. You got to do it against that guy because that's what he wants. So, and it kind of speaks to our inability to control the center of the ice in front of Jeremy Swayman. Just kind of playing a little scurred there. Same old Islanders. You're negative today, Anthony. They have 5 power plays, 4. Score none of them. It's fine. And give up a shorty. Overturn the power play, please. The power play, please, ref. I get it. When the Islanders go into power play, it's like decline, please. We need to figure it out desperately. We need to figure out the power play as soon as humanly possible. I don't imagine it's going to happen. We've had one suggestion earlier if maybe we take Jonathan Drouin off of power play 1 and put like Heineman there instead. Get a shooter in the half wall on the right side, please. All right. We're going through all the comments here. This is what we're going to do. Andre, I thought Schaefer overhandled the puck a few times, but he's still a phenomenal talent. Okay. So this is context to what Andre was saying earlier. And this is Schaefer's worst game as an Islander, just overhandling the puck. Perhaps he's doing a little bit too much tonight. That sounds totally fair. Specifically on that one power play we referenced earlier where like he gives it away twice. And we end up paying for it. So that's rough. RW, what the hell is Duclair doing out with 1.5 minutes left? We need 2 goals. Holy Christ. I think that was Patty just going random bullshit. Just try something. Some of our guys need a rest. Maybe we find something out from Duclair. And I thought he got himself one good opportunity in that situation, or maybe I'm thinking of one earlier in the game and I'm just kind of conflating them together now that my mind is rushing through memories. But it's totally fair. Like, that's not a position for him. Reminiscent of almost having, Josh Bailey jump over the boards on a 6-on-5. And you're like, come on, man. Come on. Gary, GOAT, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you haven't yet, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. It helps us grow this channel immensely. It helps us get paid for our work as well, because the more numbers we have, the more valuable it is to YouTube and the algorithm and all that fun stuff. And it helps us then grow the channel, not in terms of like the number of people watching it, but the kind of content we put out, because we're getting paid for it. Maybe I do this full time if we get enough people to do it. So thank you, Gary, for that. To Anthony, dear Case Zekas, for the love of God, please retire. The game has moved away from you. This is rough. It's not a grindy game anymore. It's a skill game, and he has 0 skill. I feel bad for that. I'm not saying that you're off base, Anthony. I do believe that it's done for Casey, and we've said this on the post game or on the pods as well. It's kind of done for Casey. I think, and I'm not criticizing the comment. It sounds like I am, but I'm really not. This is too direct for me. This isn't something I'd type out, but I'm not necessarily refuting what you're saying. Same with Anders Lee. Well, that one I'll push back on. I don't know about the same for Anders Lee. I've never seen somebody in the NHL with worse hands than Anders Lee. That is what? Team needs to trade him while he has any trade value left. Anders Lee has, I'm not saying his hands are the softest in the league where he can dipsy doodle around everyone, but his dexterity is pretty goddamn good, and he's renowned for that league-wide. So I'm going to push back on that. I don't think that the same goes for Anders Lee. Maybe he's having a rough go right now, but I don't think that that's the case. And he started off the year very well, so I'm going to push back on that one, Anthony. Richard Lord says the Islanders' power play ineptitude will be their Achilles heel if the Islanders miss the playoffs. Yep, that is 1,000% accurate. They're not making the playoffs if this. Well, I don't know. I'm sure. I'm not going to say they're not making the playoffs because of this power play, but if they don't, Richard is right. Then the power play is going to have a big reason for that. To scare it, Thierry Henry, love it. Or at least switch up some personnel on the power play. Need another finisher on that unit. Absolutely. It goes back to something we said earlier, just on today's show. Switch out Jonathan Drouin for Emil Heineman if we can. Get him a one-timer. Would be great. Trade Anders Lee in case Zekas for an 8th round draft pick. Lols. Come on now, Anthony. I know we want to be pessimistic because we lost, but like a little bit of reality, please. Gary, we will be set at lefty in 2 years. That's accurate. There's a lot of quality coming in through the pipeline on the left-hand side, obviously with Keishon Aitchison there, Isaiah George, just to name a few, and then you have Schaefer. So that's 3 stacked right there, assuming they even make it. And there's other guys that could make a play that we could find even elsewhere. So not worried about left-handed. Right-handed we are, because we have Thomas Mahu, who's doing fine, it seems, at Providence, but sometimes 7th rounders just be 7th rounders. We don't know what he's going to be like when he even goes pro yet, let alone the NHL. So not going to bank on that. Thoughts on Duclair's play? I don't know. I'm all over the place with him. Sometimes he looks all right, and sometimes he's completely anonymous. Like you can see here tonight, very Michael Dalcolian performance. No goals, no assists, no points, obviously, -1, 10 minutes of play time. He does get a shot and a block. That's it. Not the greatest standout performance from Duclair. I don't know. He's hit and miss. I could do without Duke on the team at this point, but he's better than a lot of players that we have that could fill that spot. So you play the quality. He's definitely got quality. Maybe he needs to go into the top 6, and that kind of gives him a boost. And then we see that Duke that we signed, last year, but we haven't seen that Duke in a little bit. Pellick will be redundant, or sure, in terms of lefty quality. Radern just got tickets for March 26th. I'm like this close to figuring out March 26th for myself. I'm just checking out plane tickets there, and they're cheap right now. So I think I might. I'll let you all know when I say yes or no to March 26th. But right now it's like a 90% chance I'm there on March 26th as well. Near Ryan, near Rarden, I can't read. 3-on-1 and don't get a shot off. I'll just and 3-on-1 and don't get a shot off. Oh, fair enough. Okay. I was just sitting around waiting for Schaefer to do something. They're becoming predictable on one-trick pony. Yeah. Let's feed it to Schaefer. It's fine. It sucks. You get a 3-on-1 situation. You don't even get a shot off, but yeah, whatever. I'm not dismissing the comment. It sounds like I am by saying whatever, but like I'm trying to say that I'm not too mad about it. Scary Thierry Henry still in playoff position at Thanksgiving break. Team has exceeded expectations so far, and I honestly expected a few letdown games after flying high on that road trip. That's fair. This is a totally fair take. We are still in a playoff position. And I know everyone says like 76, they said it on the broadcast as well. 76% of teams in a playoff position by American Thanksgiving are in that playoff position at the end of the year. Sure. But 24% of teams are not. Are we one of those 24% teams? Like there are only 16 teams that make the playoffs. So times 24, that's still 4 teams that don't make it. Are we going to be one of those teams? Maybe. I don't care if we are or not. I really don't. I'm evaluation year for me. But I like this take from Scary Thierry. There's going to be a letdown. It's just you don't want to see the letdown happen at home. Is the only thing here. Like you do well on the road, you hope to bring that at home, and they haven't really brought that in terms of results yet. But the performances show that they should be. And I'm assuming if we looked at Twitter, or if you guys looked at Twitter and let me know what Patty said, I think he'll be happy with how we played the game. Gary, if anyone would have said we would be 13-9-2 and in a playoff spot this time of the year before the season started, most would have thought you were crazy. I know we have in our Discord, I'm going to pop it out again, from our patron, Ryan, one of our longtime patrons, said that the Islanders would be in a top 3 position in the Metropolitan Division because the Metro is going to be garbage this year. And so I think he's one of the very few who said it from the beginning, like, this is what I think is going to happen. And it is happening so far. So, but I agree, Gary. I'm happy for where we are right now. Road trip did a lot of that, but doesn't matter. You got to win the games that are in front of you. Andre, think win or lose Islanders have to move Lee and Peugeot at the deadline? Yes. Maybe not Lee. I'm not just saying we need to trade him no matter what, because I don't know what we'll get for him. But I totally agree with Peugeot. No matter what happens, even if we're winning the Eastern Conference, we have to trade Jean-Gabriel Peugeot. You have to. You cannot keep that player on this team. Great player, great individual. But for what you get from him, you have to move him. You have to. Losing him for nothing would really suck. Would I be happy for him to be around? Absolutely. So it's kind of conflicting, but that's how I feel. And obviously, Andre believes the same thing. Anthony says, can't even blame Schaefer for the loss. No, of course you shouldn't. My blame goes to 0 bodies in front. Yep. Swayman saw 44 of those 45 shots, and Sorokin giving the 3 goals on 14 shots. I really, really like. I really want to meet the person who's blaming Matthew Schaefer for the loss. And I know you're not, Anthony. I know you're not. But I hope there's no one out there actually. Oh, we lost because of him, because he's that giveaway on the shorthanded. We were already in the losing position anyways, and like, whatever, man. He's trying something. At least the blame, yes, goes to the 0 bodies in front. That's huge. The Islanders could not control their own front of the net and the front of the net in Boston's end, even though they spent most of the game there. That agreed, Anthony, absolutely. And it's something I said at the beginning of the show was why they lost this game. Totally agree. Jeremy, 26 points is 8th place in the Metro, 31 points is 1st. Tight division and likely not trades for a while with it being so close. Agreed. I don't think we're seeing anything until the new year in terms of movement. And even then, maybe not, as we try to like sift through who's buyers and who's sellers, as Jeremy's kind of alluding to here. Thanks for the show, and congrats to Matt. Of course, congrats to Matt for that wonderful, wonderful wedding. To anti censorship, why do they do this at home? A 1-6 homestand would be so Isles. I hope they prove me wrong. Can't score again. They're not wrong for that being an Islander thing, right? You fly high from this awesome road trip and you come crashing back down when you're not expected to win games, but when you are put in an advantageous position to win games. You were in a disadvantageous position and you did well. You would hope to bring that forward at home and you didn't. Come on, man. And yes, also very Islanders today. Anthony brought that up as well. You made a not great over the last couple of years. Goalie look amazing tonight. Ridiculous. To Radorn, there was a little spice from Juan in the postgame. I didn't catch the whole exchange, but chalk it up to frustration. Okay. I do like that. I do like some frustration from Patty. Because rightfully so, like he had a good game plan, clearly. They executed that game plan very well, but they still can get it to go. And you're like, what do you want me? I can't score for you. I can't do it. I told you what to do and you didn't do it. Kind of. But again, if this is the game plan they have, it's working. There's some tweaks they need to make, of course, like Andre or Anthony just brought it up a second ago here. Few tweaks here, specifically in front of the net to get bodies to the front of the net so Swayman can't see everything and protect the front of your house. If we can do those, even remote, just a little marginally better, we win games. We probably win this game. That's all the only tweak they need to make to this game, and they would win. So I get why Patty might be a little testy there. So that's all the comments. We went through each and every one of them. Thank you all for sticking around. I know the number is not high. It is Thanksgiving Eve, so I kind of get it. Everyone's traveling probably right now. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you in the United States. We already had ours. Please consume your body weight in gravy for me. Think about it when you're having gravy with your mashed potatoes and turkey and stuffing. Please, please, please. Hit the like or subscribe button if you haven't already. If you have, thank you, thank you, thank you. And again, thank you for joining us here tonight, and we will catch you next time.